Yesterday, we in the United States surpassed 30 million cases of COVID-19. CDC's most recent data show that the 7-day average of new cases is slightly less than 60,000 cases per day. This is a 10% increase compared to the prior 7-day period. Hospitalizations have also increased. The most recent 7-day average, about 4,800 admissions per day, is up from 4,600 admissions per day in the prior 7-day period. And deaths, which typically lag behind cases and hospitalizations, have now started to rise, increasing nearly 3% to a 7-day average of approximately 1,000 deaths per day. When I first started at CDC about 2 months ago, I made a promise to you. I would tell you the truth, even if it was not the news we wanted to hear. Now is one of those times when I have to share the truth and I have to hope and trust you will listen. I'm going to pause here. I'm going to lose the script and I'm going to reflect on the recurring feeling I have of impending doom. We have so much to look forward to, so much promise and potential of where we are, and so much reason for hope, but right now I'm scared. I know what it's like as a physician to stand in that patient room, gowned, gloved, masked, shielded, and to be the last person to touch someone else's loved one because their loved one couldn't be there. I know what it's like when you're the physician, when you're the healthcare provider, and you're worried that you don't have the resources to take care of the patients in front of you. I know that feeling of nausea when you read the crisis standards of care and you wonder whether there are going to be enough ventilators to go around and who's going to make that choice. And I know what it's like to pull up to your hospital every day and see the extra morgue sitting outside. I didn't know at the time when it would stop. We didn't have the science to tell us. We were just scared. We have come such a long way. 3 historic scientific breakthrough vaccines, and we are rolling them out so very fast. So I'm speaking today not necessarily as your CDC director, and not only as your CDC director, but as a wife, as a mother, as a daughter, to ask you to just please hold on a little while longer. I so badly want to be done. I know you all so badly want to be done. We are just almost there, but not quite yet. And so I'm asking you to just hold on a little longer, to get vaccinated when you can, so that all of those people that we all love will still be here when this pandemic ends.
I'm sorry. But I don't want to be an emperor. That's not my business. I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful. But we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent, and all will be lost. The aeroplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness in men, cries out for universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world, millions of despairing men, women, and little children, victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes. Men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men, machine men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world, a decent world, that will give men a chance to work, that will give youth a future and old age a security. By the promise of these things, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill that promise. They never will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people. Now let us fight to fulfill that promise. Let us fight to free the world, to do away with national barriers, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us fight for a world of reason, a world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all unite!
This morning, the U.S. set a new record, more than 93,000 Americans hospitalized with coronavirus. It's the frontline workers who deal with the reality of this pandemic. Millions of people have now seen this photo capturing a doctor comforting an elderly patient on Thanksgiving Day. Joining us now is that doctor, Dr. Joseph Verone. He's the chief of staff at the United Memorial Medical Center in Houston. Dr. Verone, as always, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for your compassion. The photographer who took that picture was Go Nakamura of Getty Images, we should say. You were the doctor. Tell us what's going on there.
Yeah, what's going on is, as you know, I have been very transparent with the media. So I usually have media in our unit so people can see what's going on. So I have the photographer following me. And as I'm going inside my COVID unit, I see that this elderly patient is out of his bed and trying to get out of the room, and he's crying. So I get close to him and I tell him, why are you crying? And the man says, I want to be with my wife. So, I just grab him, I hold him. I did not know that I was being photographed at the time. And he was just crying, and eventually he felt better and he stopped crying.
I want to be with my wife, he said. Of course, can he be with his wife right now? Who can he see?
At the present time, he can't. We need to complete his treatment. He needs to be negative on his swabs so that we can then send him out of the hospital. But it's very difficult. You can imagine you are inside a room where people come in spacesuits and you have no communication with anybody else other by phone if you're lucky. I mean, it's very difficult. And when you are an elderly individual, it's even more difficult because you feel that you are alone. You feel isolated.
You just mentioned spacesuit. I mean, that is what is so notable in that photograph. He's the patient, obviously, and you were dressed in all this protective gear. So what was going through your head during this hug?
I was feeling very, very sorry for him. I mean, I was feeling sad, just like him. And I was just recollecting all the patients that I've had to do similar things with. I will go into the rooms, I will sit in their bed and chat with them because they truly need somebody to give them a hand. And my staff is very good at doing this. But we have so many patients that sometimes we cannot, hold every patient or grab the hand of a patient, or at least try to be a little more human.
What can you tell us about how that patient is doing this morning?
He's actually doing great. He's doing much better. We are hoping that before the end of the week, he'll be able to get out of the hospital.
Well, that's wonderful news. How often does this happen?
Oh, very often. I mean, people are just, the patients get so sad. Some of them cry, some of them try to escape. We actually had somebody that tried to escape through a window the other day. They are so isolated, they really want out. It is, it is very sad.
How do you handle all this, patient after patient in need, all these people needing not just treatment, but needing love?
To be honest with you, I don't know. As you know, I've been working for 256 days today, nonstop, and I don't know what keeps me going. I don't know how I haven't broken down. As we have discussed before, you know, my nurses have broken down. My nurses cry in the middle of the day because you know they get so sad sometimes for situations like this. You know, just seeing a patient that's crying because he wants to see his family.
What does get to you, Dr. Varone?
As of now, what gets to me is frustration. It's a frustration that, you know, I do this day in and day out, and people are out there doing the wrong thing. People are out there in bars, restaurants, malls. I mean, it is crazy. It's like, you know, we work, and people don't listen, and then they end up in my ICU.
Yeah, we saw pictures in New York City and Los Angeles over the weekend of dozens, if not hundreds of people gathering in parties. You know, when you are hugging a patient like that, what do you want or need the people out there to know?
What people need to know is that I don't want to have
This morning, the U.S. set a new record, more than 93,000 Americans hospitalized with coronavirus. It's the frontline workers who deal with the reality of this pandemic. Millions of people have now seen this photo, capturing a doctor comforting an elderly patient on Thanksgiving Day. Joining us now is that doctor, Dr. Joseph Varone. He's the chief of staff at the United Memorial Medical Center in Houston. Dr. Varone, as always, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for your compassion. The photographer who took that picture was Go Nakamura of
maybe 30 seconds or 40 seconds. We're going to show you the whole interview process here. So take a look at this.
Hello, everyone. I'm News Now from Fox host Pilar Arias, currently joined by Dr. Pierre Corey, who just gave on Tuesday some very emotional and powerful testimony on Capitol Hill. Doctor, how are you doing?
Yeah, a little emotional is correct. I'm doing okay.
What is your specialty? What have you studied? What medicine do you practice? And why were you testifying today?
Yeah, so I am a lung and ICU specialist. So I work in intensive care units. I take care of what's called the sickest of the sick. I've been in academia my entire career, myself and my colleagues. And I have to be clear. I'm speaking today not on behalf of my own personal or professional opinions, but I am part of a group that we formed early on in the pandemic. Okay, we formed ourselves, led by Professor and Dr. Paul Marik. He brought us together to try to figure out COVID and to try to figure out effective treatment protocols. We've been working tirelessly reviewing the world's literature on almost every aspect of this disease. And so I'm speaking on behalf of our group, which is a collection of scientists. We collectively have almost 2,000 peer-reviewed publications. So I want to be very, very clear on that. It's not just one doctor's opinion that I'm speaking today.
Right. So your testimony, you got very emotional. If you wouldn't mind explaining to me why that was.
I'm a lung doctor. Everyone is dying of breathlessness. The ICUs are filling. They're all on ventilators and they die slowly. They're on for weeks. I run an ICU where there's nothing but patients with COVID. I don't see any other disease anymore. All I see is COVID, 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 and they're all dying. I can't help but emotional. My entire life and my humanity is being destroyed by this. Are you kidding me? This is not the flu. And I'm so tired of hearing that. This is not the flu. I'm losing patients of all ages, all ethnicities, and they're all dying. By the time they get to me in the ICU, I can't turn them around. I can't recover them. And Is that a fair answer as to why I'm emotional?
Yeah, your exact words during your testimony were, "I can't keep doing this." You're talking about a drug, repurposed drugs in particular, and one that could have a miraculous impact on not just treating, but preventing COVID-19?
Our group, again, we have come to the conclusion after reviewing months of data that have all come out in the last few months. This is all new data. We never believed that ivermectin was the answer. We thought it might be early on because there was some theoretical rationale that it might work. But what we uncovered in the last 3 months is nothing but repeated studies and trials showing phenomenal effectiveness in multiple areas, not only in prevention, but early and late treatment. And the most overwhelming data is in the prevention of transmission of COVID-19. If you are on ivermectin, the studies and their randomized controlled trials, large and well done, show if you're taking ivermectin, you will not contract COVID-19. I repeat, if you are taking ivermectin, you will not contract COVID-19.
Do you think this is the better option than the vaccines that everybody keeps saying are coming? And today we had the first woman in the UK get a vaccine.
I think they're complementary. I am so encouraged. My group is encouraged by the development of vaccines. We still want to see that data. It has not been peer reviewed and published as far as we know, but we believe that this would be complementary, more rapidly scalable and more quickly scalable. We have too many people dying right now. There's so many people who are going to die while waiting for those vaccines. So this is something that can be pursued immediately and urgently.
The drug, is it ivermectin? I want to make sure I get it right.
Ivermectin. So you have to be clear on what ivermectin is. It already has won the Nobel Prize in medicine for its discovery because of its global health impact. So it's already rid the world of a number of parasitic diseases. 60% of sub-Saharan Africa take ivermectin regularly to rid themselves of the scourge of parasites. What we discovered and what the studies show, it has phenomenal antiviral activity. It absolutely blocks the replication of the SARS-CoV-2 virus, so you don't get sick. The virus can't infect, can't replicate, and can't kill you if you're on ivermectin.
Is the drug readily available, affordable, and does it come in pill form, or does it have to be?
So it's a pill. It's a pill, and what's crazy is for treatment, as little as 1 dose is effective. We have a few protocols, and if anyone wants to go to our website, which is flccc.net, it's the nonprofit organization that I'm a president of that was formed by Dr. Paul Marik. We have put out our treatment protocols from the beginning. They're all highly effective. We have one for the hospital, and now we have one for prevention and early treatment. We have the doses on there. So it's oral. Now, is it readily available for the country? There are not enough doses available now to treat everyone. However, we've spoken with some of the one pharmaceutical company that supplies, and they can quickly scale up, and we hope they do. And I'm really hesitant to mention this, but ivermectin is also widely used in animals. And there's veterinary grade ivermectin there. Now, it's not recommended to use because it hasn't been tested in humans, but it's the same drug. It just does not have the same level, same low level of impurities that the human one does. So I can't recommend animal, but that is widely available. And I will say in many countries, especially in South America, they have been using veterinary grade ivermectin.
You said during your testimony that you are not a politician, you are a physician, but what are your thoughts now that you're getting all this national attention after your testimony?
In terms of politics?
Everything, just the attention that you're getting. You're hearing from your people, people are knowing your name now.
I have to be clear, I just walked out of my of the hearing and my testimony, so I am not sure what's going on in the world. All I know is that for 3 weeks, my team, my group, my colleagues, we have discovered the cure for COVID. And so there's nothing new that's happening right now that wasn't changed already. Dr. Marik is the first one who brought our attention to it. He put a video on his YouTube website weeks ago, months ago, and all I've done is work very closely with him at amassing the data. Our manuscript needs to be reviewed by the NIH, and they need to formulate treatment recommendations now.
Now, that is exactly what you asked for the NIH to review your data. And then what? Does it go to FDA? Who does it go to after that?
You don't need the FDA to approve it. I think they just need to provide guidance. If you go to the NIH website on treatment recommendations for COVID, they recommend against hydroxychloroquine. They recommend for remdesivir, which departs from the WHO, which removed their recommendation for remdesivir. Their recommendation for ivermectin, which is from August 27th, currently states on the website today, it says, we recommend against the use of ivermectin outside of clinical trials. That recommendation was based on expert opinion only in August. In August, we did not have the trials data that I presented today. A lot has changed. The last 3 months, massive amounts of clinical data has come out. Not all of it has gone through peer review and publications, but it's available. The NIH has the resources to verify and validate with all those study investigators their data. And that's all we're asking to do. We're not saying we found the cure for COVID. We've identified the data. We want them to review and validate it.
Doctor, where did we go from here? Do you think that your requests are going to be answered?
I think my job is done. We need the FDA to review and validate the data and provide guidance. I do not have that authority. The country will not listen to me, even though I'm part of 5 of the smartest guys in the pandemic. Literally, my colleagues are some of the most highly published and well-regarded physicians in our specialty. And although I think we have answers that other people don't, no one listens to us. We need the NIH, the CDC, and the FDA to step in, and even the WHO. I just want to mention, a lot of our data in my manuscript, which is available for review by all of those agencies, also includes epidemiologic analyses by 2 analysts that we work with. And one in particular, Juan Chimie, he has been doing epidemiologic analyses since early on in the pandemic, showing in region after region after region that does widespread distribution of ivermectin, case counts and death rates plummet. We have numerous examples of that. We know that this is effective.
There were 3 groups of people that you mentioned are being impacted the most and are dying from COVID-19. I think you said African Americans, Hispanics, Latinos, and the elderly. Is that right?
Absolutely. We know, and I don't know if this is the right term, but you know, our units are full of those who are Black and brown and the old. It's just our Hispanic brothers, our African American and our elderly patients, they are being decimated by this. There's just countless death. Our ICUs are full of them and their families are getting destroyed. I mean, we have a solution. It needs to be reviewed, validated, and we need guidance.
If you could ask anything of the general public right now, especially ahead of the holidays, everyone's wanting to gather, what would you ask them or tell them?
We need guidance to implore our governmental healthcare agents and leaders who we've depended on throughout this pandemic to do your job. To do your job, review these data, listen to our advice. We are a group of experts. We have formed, our entire group has done nothing but research on repurposed drugs. We know the drugs that we know the drugs that we learn, and we're experts at all of them. This is our recommendation. We need them to hear us out. And so we need to implore our government and leaders to revise their recommendation. It's 3 months old, over 3 months old. They need to update it now.
All right, Dr. Corey.
Texas. Let me tell you, we are asking ourselves these questions. Come on. Where do we go? We're no longer where we started, together. There's no limit to this tragedy. We are back to on our own, wrestling with this storm and realizing that we are not looking up from here. How about the devastation? This reality. It's bigger than the strength of community, our values, commitment. What happened to us? From Marshall to Midland to San Marcos, the dedication to get things done doesn't really matter? Listen, we are in for a hell of a lot of challenges this journey ahead. We're here for the long disappointment of short-term promises, disappearing headlines, the predictable posts without real participation. Come on, we don't have time for the possibilities of tomorrow. Not anymore. We have yet to see the hard work, the currency of sacrifice. Are we questioning the future? Because it's clear that we are. But tonight, our answer is going to turn this story around. Because it's clear that we are the future. Are we questioning hard work, the currency of sacrifice? Not anymore. We have yet to see the possibilities of tomorrow. Come on, we don't have time for posts without real participation, disappearing headlines, the predictable disappointment of short-term promises. We're here for the long journey ahead. A hell of a lot of challenges? This doesn't really matter. Listen, we are in for the dedication to get things done, from Marshall to Midland to San Marcos. What happened to us? Commitment, our values, the strength of community. This reality, it's bigger than the devastation. How about looking up and realizing that we are not on our own, wrestling with this storm, this tragedy. We are back to where we started, together. There's no limit to where we go. We're no longer asking ourselves these questions. Come on, let me tell you. We are Texas.